Most women want to skip this one step, but without it, every diet, every plan, every effort eventually falls apart. And I see it all the time. Women who are doing everything right. They're eating clean, they're moving their bodies, they're trying so hard, but they're still stuck in this frustrating cycle. After my own weight loss journey and in years of working with other women just like you, I've learned something powerful. If we don't get our mindset right, nothing else sticks. Because here's the truth. Your thought patterns are creating your reality. So if you're still having the same thoughts that you had back when you failed times before, no matter what you do, you're still going to end up right back where you started. So today I want to talk to you about the one step most women want to skip over, but it's the one step that changes everything. Have you ever considered that your thoughts are actually creating your life? You actually have about 30,000 thoughts a day, and what's interesting is that most of them are negative or fear-based unless we intentionally renew them. So here's how it works. Your thoughts create your beliefs shape your emotions drive your behaviors, and your behaviors create your results. So if you're always thinking that I always fail at weight loss, then your emotions are going to line up with that thought. And then you're going to feel discouraged. And when you feel discouraged, your actions are going to follow. And you might quit early or stop trying. And then your results just confirm what you already believed. But here's the good news. Romans 12:2 says, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." So we do not have to stay stuck in these old ways of thinking. So one thing that you can do today is think about a thought that plays again and again in your mind. Maybe it's a negative thought about your body. And then take that thought, write it down, and then go to scripture and find scripture that speaks truth to that lie. So maybe like we talked about before, you might think, I always fail at weight loss. Well, a scripture that you could use to combat that would be, I'm more than a conqueror. So every day when you get out of bed, remind yourself of that truth. And anytime that thought comes back to you, you combat that lie with the truth of Scripture. So remember, weight loss starts in the mind, not the mouth. You've probably heard the phrase, you are what you eat. But it's not just about the food you're eating. It's also about what you're feeding your mind. So everything that we see and hear and dwell on becomes the information our brain uses to shape our thoughts. And so what's interesting about that is that your mind can't tell the difference between what's real and repetition. And interestingly enough, the way you get somebody to believe a lie is that you repeat it over and over and over again. So take a moment and ask yourself, what am I feeding my mind every single day? Is it life-giving? Is it moving me towards the person that God created me to be, or not? And then take some time to reflect on all of the sources that are coming at you on a daily basis. Think about social media, think about news, think about people you're around or groups that you're a part of. And then take a small step and take one of the things that you've identified that are negative and then replace it with something that is life-giving. So it could be scripture reading, it could be praise and worship music, or a podcast. But ideally, it's something that reminds you of who you are. So remember, when you change your inputs, you're going to change your outlook. Did you know that you can actually train your brain to look for the positive instead of the negative? I don't know about you, but I would much rather that my brain is looking for evidence of victory and freedom instead of defeat and bondage. Let me introduce you to a part of your brain called the RAS, or reticular activating system. So this system is really interesting. When we visualize or we speak something, then the brain goes to work looking for evidence that what we spoke or visualized is actually true. So when we visualize honoring and caring for the body that God gave us, or we speak scriptural truths over our lives, then the RAS goes to work all day long looking for evidence that that's true, which is a lot better than it looking for evidence of defeat and failure. Another thing that's really interesting about your brain is that every time you have a thought, that thought actually creates a physical pathway in the brain. So when you have a thought over and over again, it becomes a deep, well-worn rut and that thought becomes automatic. But the good news is you can create new neural pathways or new ruts. And as we neglect the old ways of thinking that are unhealthy, those pathways actually fill in and go away. It's kind of like a path in the woods that no one walks on anymore. So take some time to reflect this week on what your words and mental pictures say about what you believe is possible for your life. And if you have time this week, each morning I would just encourage you to visualize yourself walking out your health goals successfully, and then speak some scripture over your life, something like, I'm more than a conqueror, or I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And just watch how your emotions shift and how your choices start to follow your focus. So just remember, you are not at the mercy of your thoughts. You actually can rewire your brain to align with truth and freedom and the life that God has for you. If you'd like additional support on working on your mindset, I encourage you to download my free Wheel of Wellness and Weight Loss Assessment. It'll show you exactly how your mindset might be affecting your results and give you tips on where to focus first. And if you'd like to take an even deeper dive, I want to invite you to purchase the Inspired Change course, where I will walk you step by step through how to identify lies and limiting beliefs and retrain your brain to work for you, not against you. Because when your mind is aligned with truth, everything else falls into place. You are created for more than this cycle of frustration. You were created for freedom, vibrant health, and fulfilling the purpose God has for you. And remember, every time you catch a negative thought and you replace it with truth, you're building new pathways to freedom. Those small shifts add up to lasting transformation in your mind, your body, and in your life. And if this message encouraged you, please share it with a friend who needs hope and encouragement as well. And keep walking in truth, honoring the body God gave you, and until next time, stay inspired.